friends, today we are doing something super fun that I don't do enough. I don't showcase videos like this enough, and I think it's something that needs to change. And that is reading only from authors that I have never read from before. I feel like, especially this year, which has been, as you guys know, I talk about it all the time, quite awful. I have been really relying on those comfort authors, those authors that I know I'm going to love, have a good time with. Haven't been really wanting to risk it for the biscuit this year. I just have been needing something that I know is gonna be good. But I think today we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna read from 3 authors, technically 4, that we've never read before. I say that because our first book that I have here is Dishonestly Yours. This is by Krista and Becca Ritchie, so it's technically by 2 people. I wonder what this is. I know it's romance, but I don't know if it's like considered thriller / mystery and romance. Let's see what the good old GR says about it. It classifies it as, nope, just romance. Okay, so this is about Phoebe Graves. Phoebe Graves grew up in a family where deception and seduction were as commonplace as breathing. Phoebe's family and the Tin Rock clan, including her best friend, Haley, have been on the run their whole lives. But after a high-stakes con job goes south, Phoebe and Haley decide to run away and start over. The small Connecticut town they settle in seems to be too good to be true. The biggest flaw in the plan is Haley's frustratingly handsome brother, Rocky, who insists on coming with them. Living, honestly, isn't in his DNA, and his past with Phoebe is downright messy. He's everything she wants, but nothing she can have. Phoebe worries that Rocky will tempt them back into their old ways, where lying is second nature. She doesn't want Rocky to mess up the new life she's begun for herself. The longer she stays in town, the more she realizes what it means to have a reputation and what a normal life with a man she loves could look like. So we've got that one. Then we have by Casey McQuiston, One Last Stop. This is a magical realism sapphic romance. This says, for a cynical 23-year-old August, moving to New York City is supposed to be her right, to prove her right, that things like magic and cinematic love stories don't exist. The only smart way to go through life is alone. She can't imagine how waiting tables at a 24-hour pancake dinner and moving in with too many weird roommates could possibly change that. And there's certainly no chance of her subway commute being anything more than a daily trudge through boredom and electrical failures. And then there is a gorgeous girl on the train, Jane. Dazzling, charming, mysterious, impossible Jane. Jane with her rough edges and swoopy hair and soft smile, showing up in a leather jacket to save August's morning when she needs it the most. August's subway crush becomes the best part of her day, but soon she discovers that there's one big problem. Jane doesn't look like an old school punk rocker. She's literally displaced in time from the 70s, and August is going to use everything she has tried to leave in her past to help Jane. Maybe it's time to start believing that some things are magic after all. And then we have Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is like a super popular book that I have been told I'm going to really enjoy. So, after Tova Sullivan's husband died, she began working the night shift at the Sewell Bay Aquarium, mopping floors and tidying up. Keeping busy, she has always helped her cope, which she's been doing since her 18-year-old son mysteriously vanished on a boat in Puget Sound over 30 years ago. Tova becomes acquainted with the curmudgeonly Marcellus, a brilliant giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. Marcellus wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors until he forms a friendship with Tova. Enter the detective. Oh my god, my brain. Ever the detective, Marcellus deduced what happened the night Tova's son disappeared, and now Marcellus must use every trick his old invertebrate body can muster to unearth the truth before it is too late. So, let's jump into these 3 books by some new to me authors. Okay friends, we are going to get started on this new to me author video. I am quite excited. I am looking forward to reading a good old magical realism. One thing about me is I am a bit of a SLUT for magical realism, so the fact that that's what this book is really exciting to me. I know magical realism does not work for a lot of people, and I feel like for most people it's too unbelievable for realism and not fantastical enough for fantasy, so they feel like it's kind of like weird. But as somebody who's not really good at understanding fantasy, this is as fantastical as I can typically get. So we're gonna get started on One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and I am very excited to get into this. I like that at the chapter headings there's like these little things, like tickets, it looks like. We got some mixed media in general, which I'm excited about. I do love mixed media, so let's go take a ride on One Last Stop. Okay, friends, we have gotten so much work done today, and we've also gotten half of this book listened to. We're making mac and cheese for lunch because I'm a grown-up, and if I want mac and cheese for lunch, I'm making mac and cheese for lunch. But I figured we could discuss the happenings of this book. So in this book, we have got our main female character, our first one, because it's a sapphic romance, so they're both female characters. But our main girl's name is August, and she has recently moved to New York City and has moved in with this interesting group of roommates. And they have helped her get a job at a diner, and she's just trying to get by because she's in college. One day, while she's on the subway, which she loves taking the subway because it makes her feel like a real New Yorker, and moving to New York has always been like a really big like dream of hers. So she's thrilled to be taking the subway, doing the thing, bopping around. And one day on the train, she meets this woman, Jane, and she gives her a scarf. August thinks she's really beautiful, she's really attracted to her and hopes to run into her again. And so when she does, they get to talking. It turns out Jane used to work at the same diner that August works at, so on and so forth. Then throughout their encounters and talking, and August finding a picture of Jane at the diner from the 70s, looking exactly as she looks now, she realizes something is kind of strange. And whenever she tries to ask Jane out on a date after the train breaks down and they're stuck on it for a while, and she says she can't, she originally feels like Jane maybe just is not interested in her, but then one of her roommates is a psychic, and she goes to talk to him about oh my god, maybe she's a ghost. He comes to meet her, and he's like, no, I don't feel like she's dead, not the vibes, maybe she's trapped here. And they learn that Jane cannot leave the train. So, and Jane doesn't even really know where she is, what year it is, what's going on. So with August's help, she's teaching her about the current times, as well as trying to help Jane remember her past. Because Jane doesn't have any memories. The only way she knows even her name is because it's stitched into her jacket. Otherwise, she doesn't know where she's from, where she belongs, what she's doing there. So they're doing a bunch of different tests, including Jane will have a little bit of a memory of a girl she kissed or a thing she did. And Jane will kiss her, or August will kiss Jane, and it'll bring back whatever this memory is. So they're really working to try to bring back her memories, to try to get her to no longer be stuck in this train. So that's kind of what's been happening, what's been going on, and where we are at in the book. We're just kind of following them slowly start to fall for each other. And as August is starting to fall for Jane, she's trying to stop herself and distance herself because she knows they can't be together because she's not from the current times. And so she gets Jane a pay-as-you-go phone so that she can contact her without having to see her, because it's becoming a bit difficult because she's starting to really like her. Another thing is Jane tells her that prior to meeting August, every day felt fuzzy. All of her memories of like the days prior felt fuzzy, but things are clearer when August is around. And so whenever August went a few days without seeing Jane, she was like, yeah, like things got fuzzy again. So we'll see. I'm assuming because it is a romance, there is some sort of magical loophole that will allow Jane to stay in the present, but we will see. So far it's cute. So far it's honestly giving like a 3-star. A very middle of the road, glad I read it, but not life-changing read. So we will see how the second half goes. Maybe it'll get really cute. For me, for romances, I like them to be a little bit heavier and deal with like heavier, deep topics. And this is very surface level so far. Like, yes, August is dealing with the fact that she's about to graduate college and doesn't know what she wants to do with her life, a very existential crisis type energy, which everything in that vein could get deeper. That, like, the deepness that I'm looking for. Again, we're only like, I think I'm 46%, and it's a 420 page book. So there's still time for things to become a 4. It's definitely not a 5, but so far, so good. I'm quite enjoying it. Okay, guys, I have officially finished one last stop. And I am going to, as I had predicted, give this book 3 stars. My main issue is that it wasn't as deep as I wanted it to be. I like a very, like, deep emotional pull in a romance novel, which there was some emotional things that happened, but none of it was deep enough, and so I didn't care, honestly, all that much about our characters. And so, like, it was a fine read. I'm glad I read it. I don't know that I'm like, definitely not chomping at the bits to read more from this author, as the point of this video is to be trying out new authors. This doesn't really make me excited about Casey's work, but it was fine. I just didn't feel a super big pull to the characters. I felt more connected to the side characters, like the roommates, their relationships, the people working at the diner. I felt more connection to literally every character other than August and Jane. So because of that, we are giving it 3 stars, and I don't know what we're going to read next for this video, but as soon as I know, I will let you know. Okay, guys, we are going to jump into this one, which is Dishonestly Yours by Krista and Rebecca Ritchie. I've actually never read anything from this like duo of authors. I have another book by them. It's like really big. It's called Burn Bright. But I am ready to get started on this. I've seen fan art of like the 2 girls, like the friends in this. I think Haley and Phoebe, and they reminded me like the vibes of me and my friend Andrea, which is literally why I picked up this duology. I did not realize that this book was almost 500 pages. When I saw that the audiobook was 13 hours, I was like, what do you mean? So it should probably take me like, what? About 4 hours to listen to this. It's not even 3 o'clock, so I should definitely finish it today, but I am intrigued to see how it goes. So we're gonna jump into this. I will come in with an update when I know what it's about. Let's go, friends. Alrighty, friends, I am about 40% into this book. I usually come to you with like a halfway. Why'd you have to do that? I usually come to y'all with a halfway update, but I'm about to make dinner, so I figured this is as good a time as any to give you an update on the book, what it's about, how it's going. So basically, in this book, we have these 2 best friends, Haley and Phoebe. It's not their real names. They go by, like, fake names because they come from these families that are long lines of con men and women. Their moms have been friends for basically ever, and they got into conning together, and they have just, like, lived lives being con women, and as they've gotten older and had kids, they have trained up their kids to also be con people. Okay, so that's kind of like our backstory. In this book, we're getting the point of view of Phoebe and then the male love interest, who we will get into in a second. Let me get my goods from the cabinet. We are making white people tacos for dinner. I'm gonna get out all of our ingredients. We need taco shells, we need taco seasoning, we need ground chicken because we make chicken tacos up in this house, sour cream, fiesta blend cheese, we need lettuce, and then we need onion. I'm gonna cut up 2 onions because we're gonna use it for this, and then I like to just always have chopped onion in the fridge for sandwiches. But okay, so we are getting some like past timeline and some current timeline, seeing the girls now and seeing them in different cons that they've been a part of. Basically, they're just trying to swindle money from people, and that's like how they've been getting through life. They have been with each other through everything, and the 2 best friends have this like code word where if the other one of them says it, the other one just has to follow, basically. And the one time Phoebe has used it was because Haley was being severely bullied in school, and what the fuck? Haley was being severely bullied in school, and Phoebe kept saying, like, let's just like not go to this school anymore, you know? And Haley was like, no, we can't do that, it'll upset our moms. But she was being tormented at school. So Phoebe used her like secret word to basically be like, no, like we're not going here anymore. Like I'm not putting you through this. So in the book, now Haley has used hers to essentially get them to leave, to move, and to go to this little town in Connecticut. Mind you, they have like a con lined up. Their next con is like ready to go. It's in Seattle. But Haley doesn't want to do this anymore. She wants to move somewhere and just have a normal life. Like she is so over all of this. And so she is basically like using her like code to get Phoebe to come with her to start over, start a new honest life. So in the beginning, they're like literally like dyeing their hair, ready to get the hell out of Dodge. And while they're there, they get a knock on the door to the hotel room, and it is introducing our male love interest, Rocky. And Rocky is Haley's brother. He is like, I found out about your plan, like what do you think you're doing? Like everybody's gonna be pissed, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I don't really care, this is what we're doing. I don't like, literally doesn't matter to me who's mad. Like I don't care. Is kind of the girl's reaction to that. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm coming with you. So he comes with them, and now we're in this Connecticut town. There is kind of like a run-in with their landlord because he's like, who is this guy? And he's like, oh, like, I'm her brother. And he's like, well, you better be out of here in a week. Like, the lease is only for 2 people, and I'll evict them. He's kind of being a douchebag. And the girls have just recently gotten a job at this like really rich, fancy country club. And so things are kind of going not great at the job. They're not making the best first impression, and it turns out that their landlord, his family actually owns the country club that they just got the job at. So he instantly hates Rocky, and I think it's like maybe he sees himself in Rocky, and so he naturally doesn't like him. But Rocky, you know, has all this money from swindling people because it's the family business, so he swiftly gets a membership to this club, which is like $100K a year, and is trying to watch out for the girls, but he's honestly just making things worse. And we find out that in a lot of different cons, Rocky and Phoebe pretend to be married. And so now the story that they're going with here in this fake town is that they're divorced, but she is his little sister's best friend, and it's all this drama. But you can tell they are very much so in love with each other. Phoebe doesn't want to be with him though, because it's like her mom always wanted them to be together, and she thinks that her mom is like a very bad judge of everything. So she doesn't want to do what her mom wants because she's literally only ever steered her in the wrong direction. So she's trying to fight her feelings for Rocky, and he's trying to fight his for her. They were just making out in a broom closet, you know. It's very obvious that they're in love. And I'm pretty sure like the next book is more so about Haley, who I already like Haley more than Phoebe. She's more my speed, but we are getting Phoebe's story now, and I'm assuming it's going to be a love story with this guy. I'm not one who tends to like a mafia style story. Not that this is like a mafia story at all, but it's giving that kind of vibe where it's like this illegal family business where they're doing all these bad things, and their name means all this. They know a lot of dangerous people. So it's kind of like the energy that we're giving, but so far so good. I'm very intrigued. I don't really know what's gonna happen. It's almost currently reading more like fiction than romance, because right now I feel like at 40%, we're just now starting to like see glimpses into Phoebe and Rocky's past. Whereas up until now, it's mainly been a story about Phoebe and Haley's friendship, which I'm not mad at all. I love stories about like friendship, so that's not like a dig at the book. It's just an observation. So it's kind of where I am at currently with my thoughts and feelings. Right now it's feeling like a 4. There is the third book comes out in next year. I think the first half of the year is either, I think May maybe? I do own the second one. This one's called Dishonestly Yours, and the second one's called Destructively Mine, I believe. So we have that on deck. If it's like, I do think I'm gonna probably read the first two. I mean, I own them both, and I feel like this is the type of story where I'm honestly kind of surprised it's only 3 books, because I know Krista and Becca Ritchie, I think they're most famous for their like the Calloway family books, but because there's like Phoebe has a lot of siblings, so when I like saw that it was a series, thought that we were gonna get a lot of books, like all the siblings. Well, according to Goodreads, it says that book 3 is the conclusion book, so evidently we're getting 3. But it's one of those where I definitely think it's the type of story where as you get to the later books, you're more invested in all the characters and the families and everything that's going on, so it makes it even better. I've read plenty of books like that, like the Chestnut Springs series. I gave book 1 only a 3-star, and then I've loved all the other books, because I feel like sometimes you have to really get that set up. But I'm really enjoying the writing. It's very like fast-paced, quick-moving, easy to follow, entertaining, engaging. So I really don't have any real complaints as of right now, which I'm happy about. So I'm gonna eat dinner with my husband, and we're gonna have some tacos, and then I will be just getting back into it. I do still have quite a bit of, not quite a bit, I do still have some work to do today. I might not finish this. I was planning on like doing what I'm doing right now and then continuing with a new task, but it's almost 5, I think. 4:40 maybe? 4:44. Wow, I'm so smart. And I thought I would be done with my current task around 6, but I think it's gonna be more like 7. So I may just call it quits after I'm done with my current task and continue on with my other portions of work tomorrow and just like have an easy early night. Either like maybe play a game with my husband. I am big into board games, if you did not know. Like I do a whole like board game YouTube and Instagram. Big passion of mine. And we have one game on the table right now that's one of like the current faves. So I'll see what he's up to, if he wants to maybe play a game or hang out, or if not, I'm reading a book on my Kindle for a different video. So I could also do that. I only got like 12% into that last night, but I am quite enjoying it. But I'm gonna go finish cooking dinner and I will check in with you guys when I'm about done with this book. Okay guys, it is the next day and we finished up Dishonestly Yours. I'm happy to report that I think Krista and Becca, they may be for me. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. In the second portion of the book, we continue to follow along with their story and we get to really find out like what happened to lead the girls, Phoebe and Haley, Haley in particular, to want to give up conning and move to this town. We're also dealing with a bunch of familial issues when Phoebe's brothers come to town and her family finds out where they are, and just them trying to live this honest life when they've literally been raised to be con artists was so interesting, and I had a really fun time with this, and I'm excited to continue the series. It left off on a crazy cliffhanger. So I'm pretty jazzed to get started on the next one. Not today, but hopefully soon, and then definitely going to be picking up the 3rd one when it comes out. But I'm so happy that I quite enjoyed this. Okay guys, we're going to get this new to me author's video finished up. I have the audio from Remarkably Bright Creatures, and we're going to just jump on into it. I'm very excited. I've heard nothing but amazing things. However, that does make me a little bit nervous because I do fear I have bad taste, and typically when I read a book that has nothing but glowing reviews, I end up not liking it. So I do hope that that's not the case, but there is a chance that it is the case. So, you know, we're gonna hope for the best. I'm putting this in to Goodreads and Fable as like I'm currently reading. Boom. And we're gonna get going. I don't really super know the tea with this one. Just like it's a woman who like is trying to figure out what happened to her son, and then some octopus helps her. I know we get a point of view of the octopus, so I'm ready for it. I got lots of work to do. Let's go. Okay guys, I've been dreading coming in here. I am halfway done with this book. It's giving 3 stars. I know, I hate myself for it, okay? If you're new here, I am Hater Hannah. I have bad taste. When you look at my favorite books, they're like objectively not well written. They're kind of mid, whatever. Books that are like well written and have like a deep meaning and make you think, most of the time don't work for me. And right now I am painfully bored. And I actually think I'm closer to 60% if I'm being honest with you. We are at exactly 60%. I've got 4.5 hours left in the audiobook, so at the speed I'm listening to it, we'll be done with this shortly. But basically, we've got our main character, Tova. Tova is like 70 years old. Her husband has died of cancer. Her son drowned when he was like a teenager, and she's kind of on her own. She works overnights at this aquarium, the Sowell Bay Aquarium, mopping the floors, tidying up, and then there is Marcel, the Orange Pacific whatever giant Pacific octopus that lives at the aquarium, and he is kind of like an escape artist. He can like unscrew his thing and get out of his cage, whatever. Tova kind of befriends him, and you basically learn that he likes to collect items, and he had stolen Tova's key. He found it in like the break room because he keeps literally escaping his cage, and he knows like how long he has until because like they can go like 18 minutes without air or without being in the water, and so he'll like go on these adventures to find better food because he's sick of herring. He wants to eat those sea cucumbers and all the good stuff. So he escapes to go eat the things, whatever, and like if he finds stuff, he'll steal it. So whenever he and Tova start to like befriend each other, he gives her back the key, and you start finding out that he has seen this key before, and that it was before his capture. He found the same key in a person's belongings at the bottom of the ocean floor. So he knows what happened to her son. So whatever, and he thinks they're like BFFs. Tova falls at work, breaks her foot or whatever, and she's like in a walking boot and has to take time off of work. So Marcel's very sad about that, but she's like going in to like chat with him because they're pals. Then we have this other storyline of this other guy. I don't even know his name, honestly. Cameron. Cameron is his name. Cameron, and he and his girlfriend just broke up. He can't hold down a job, so he is now in Washington at this aquarium. He is trying to find his dad. His mom kind of abandoned him when he was young, and now he's on this hunt to find his dad, mainly to kind of extort money from him, because the guy that he thinks is his dad is really, really rich, and he's really, really broke. So he wants to extort money out of this guy, and so he is now there working part-time at the aquarium, and I'm thinking that somehow he and Tova are connected. Don't really know. There's also this storyline with like the guy who owns the grocery store. He's like Scottish, and he is like trying to get with Tova. He like has a crush on her, which is pretty cute. But like, I'm mainly just like, where are we going? What is the point? Maybe the ending will be so good that I'll give it a 4, but like right now it's like just barely a 3. I am not enjoying it. I'm not having a fun time. And I'm ready for it to be over, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sick of it. Hater Hannah has entered the chat, and we've finished Remarkably Boring Creatures. You know what I mean? That's just where we live. Anywho, I am making myself lunch because it's 2 o'clock and I have not eaten lunch. And I'm starving. Okay, y'all. So I feel like talking about this book while I make my lunch is quite fitting, because I feel like it really sets the tone for you. I've already taped just down all my Christmas cards because they're not. I've taped them up so many times and they're not staying. But this is what I'm making for lunch. And this basically describes my taste. Kind of trash, not high quality, pretty bad. And I can objectively say Remarkably Bright Creatures is a good book. I just don't want to read a good book. I want to read a mediocre book. I want to read an okay book. I want to read a book that's just a hee-hee ha-ha time. That's like, you know, kind of like a prerequisite for me when it comes to a book. Like, I just want to have fun with it. And this book was like, literally, I feel like it could have been a novella. That's truly where I am standing on the whole thing, is it could have been a novella. It was so boring. We continued to follow their stories. The way that their stories combined was so predictable. And again, I don't know if it's because I do have like a thriller mystery like history, I guess. Like, that was my main genre for many, many years. So I don't know if I'm just like want things to be like a surprise, like that I crave that because of that. But no, everything was so beyond like obvious, so boring. I don't know. I gave it a 3 because it's objectively not bad. And I'm not like mad that I read it, but like, and I could see why it's like so well loved and like, so suggested. But I, for one, found it boring. So, you know, some wins, some losses. The Krista and Becca Ritchie book, Destructively Yours, is for sure my favorite book that we read together in this video. But I think that is going to be everything. Remarkably Bright Creatures. I'm like just also not a Remarkably Bright Creature, so maybe that's part of the problem. But that's going to be everything, folks. I will see you tomorrow. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.